All right, I've been meaning to do this for a while. Wanted to record a video about pets. I'm Tom. This is Trixie. This is a ketogenic fasting project, and I want to talk about a little experience I had, not with this dog in particular, but with my other dog Stumpy. Right about the time that I was learning about the low carb ketogenic and eventually the carnivore diet. My dog Stumpy, who's a lot like this one, he's another rat terrier, a little bit bigger. He got a tumor on his face, and I took him to the vet, and they took the tumor off his face. They had to cut a pie-shaped piece of flesh out of his face, and then sew it back together. Felt bad for him. Trixie felt really bad for him. And then I come to find out that that's caused by preservatives that they put in dog food and dog biscuits and stuff like that, like BPA, and there's some other chemicals in there. And as it turns out, if you feed a dog meat, oftentimes those tumors go away on their own. And of course, if you have them on a meat diet, they don't get that tumor to begin with. Stumpy also had one of those fatty tumors on his side that started growing. And then when I switched him over to a meat diet, that fatty tumor shrunk up. Now it's just the size of like a pea or something. So anyways, I just want to talk about that today. And I know pets are important to a lot of us. I think Trixie's a little too excited. She's starting to pant a little bit. So it's her first time on camera, and she's camera shy anyways. So I'm going to let her go, and then I'm going to continue on with a few slides. So let me see if I can get these slides up on the screen here. I'm using a new software here. So it is a little different, and I'm a little clunky with it, to be honest with you. So anyways, hopefully this is on the screen now. This is Stumpy down here in the bottom. That's Trixie, and we're headed out for a walk just to give you an idea. Stumpy's a giant rat terrier. Trixie's a regular rat terrier. She's a little on the chunky side just between you and I. But anyways, gotta back up. There's Stumpy taking a nap. Can't really see the place where they cut out the tumor very well, but he's pretty old right now. He's somewhere between maybe 16, 17, 18 years old now. And this here is our dearly departed little Mr. Snuggles. He was my mom's dog. He's a miniature poodle. Recently just had to put him down, or chose to put him down because quality of life was slipping. I have no doubt that if these dogs had been on a meat diet, they wouldn't have had near as many health problems. Probably would live a lot longer. Stumpy's still with us, but he can't hear. He doesn't really see very well, and those back legs are getting real wobbly. And I feel bad because had I known better, instead of running around trying to find the best pet food at the store, I should have just been feeding him meat. I've been feeding him meat now the last couple of years or so, and they're doing much better. Mr. Snuggles here was on a prescription canned food, and it made him smell terrible. And in the beginning, he liked that prescription food, but as time went on, he didn't like it anymore. And there's only one type, really, or it comes in two textures, but it's really just the same food. And I started feeding him meat a couple of years ago, and he seemed to enjoy it quite a bit. In fact, he loved raw meat. Stumpy liked raw meat until I tried hiding all his medicine in it, and his medicine would make him sick. And before long, he was avoiding food because he knew the medicine was in there and it was making him sick. So had I known to feed them meat from the beginning, I don't think they would have needed those, because one of the primary problems they have is that they get plaque on their teeth from eating dog food, bagged dog food. I wish I could find the YouTube video that I originally saw where the veterinarian was talking about these tumors. And he also made the comment that, giving your dog a dog biscuit to clean his teeth is a lot like us trying to clean our teeth with a cracker. It's not really going to clean them off, and it's just going to encourage plaque to grow. Now, dogs in the wild, like wolves, they don't get all this plaque and calculus on their teeth. Um, Domestic dogs do from the dog food, but if you just feed them meat and let them chew on bones, or their teeth stay nice and clean. And in the case of Stumpy and Mr. Snuggles here, they don't get heart disease from that plaque, bacteria in the plaque getting to the heart valve and causing a heart murmur, where the valve doesn't really close quite all the way, and you can hear this little hissing sound of blood escaping when the valve should be closed. So since they had all these heart problems and other problems, and they had to take all this medicine, and of course medicine causes all kinds of side effects like nausea and vomiting and all kinds of other things. And then you wind up having to test them more to see if the medicine's killing them or not. What a joy. Well, they could have just been eating meat. Now, I'm not saying anything bad about this particular dog food. I'm just going to point out here that the only carbohydrate listed on this label is crude fiber. So if you add this up right here, you're looking at 24% crude protein, 14% fat, 5% fiber, 10% moisture, 1% calcium, I think it is. You realize that does not add up to 100. So what you have to assume, let's say that adds up to roughly 50%. The other 50% is carbohydrate. Now, I've never heard a good argument of why dogs should eat any carbohydrate. I have seen it listed somewhere that a dog's diet should be roughly 3% carbohydrate. But, obviously, just about any dog food you look at doesn't list the carbohydrate at all. I read that there's some law that was passed that they leave it off. I never could really figure out if that was true, but it certainly seems to be the case. So if you just go to the store and look at the various types of dog food, you'll notice that carbohydrate is noticeably missing. As to whether a dog should eat 3% or not, I have no idea. I don't know how that number was established. I asked a veterinarian about it, and all they said was, gee, I don't know, but 3% sounds kind of low. So I asked, well, why would a dog eat carbohydrates? Do dogs walk around eating peas or potatoes or corn or wheat or barley or, alfalfa? I don't think they do. I mean, sometimes if dogs are sick and they want to purge themselves, they do eat grass and stuff like that, but certainly doesn't make up any substantial part of their diet. I don't think they walk around in the wild eating cranberries or blueberries or pine cones or anything else. I mean, dogs will chew on stuff from some time, but it's not really a significant portion of the diet. And I don't think wild wolves are. Some people have made the argument that, wolves kill an animal and then they'll eat the animal, including the stomach or the intestines or whatever. And because there's plant material in there that animal, like a caribou or a deer or an elk or whatever, was eating, that they might eat that. And I suppose that's plausible, but I don't really think that that's part of their diet. And of course, it's going to be at least partially digested vegetation, and most of those animals, like caribou might eat lichen, and then deer and stuff. Of course, they eat a lot of things like leaves and grass and stuff like that. So anyways, I don't really think that has a place in an animal's diet, or not a carnivore diet like a dog or a cat. So I don't know. I'm sure a lot of people are disturbed when they see vegans putting dogs and cats on vegan diets, and you see kittens eating raspberries and stuff. And sure, it's cute, but it can't be good for that animal. It just makes no sense. There are groups like this as Keto Pet. They're a nonprofit organization that helps dogs that have cancer and other types of diseases recover with a ketogenic diet. And yeah, I believe it's been shown pretty clearly in tests that dogs don't achieve the same level of ketosis that a human being does. You're not going to get a high level of beta hydroxybutyrate in their blood or whatever. But I think it's a pretty hard argument to say that dogs are not carnivores and that they should pretty much just be eating other animals all the time. So it makes perfect sense that you take dogs that are typically fed pet food from the store, which is full of carbohydrates. We can assume most of those pet foods are at least 50% carbohydrate. And then they're processed, they grind this stuff up, make a mush out of it, they sterilize it, they homogenize it. They, obviously the temperatures alone, much less all the preservatives, kill off enzymes and denature the proteins and break down the fats. And then they're eating fats. Like, is it plant-based proteins are not as bioavailable as animal-based proteins for humans or dogs or cats. And then you have all the plant compounds that are not healthy. And then you're also going to have the issue of higher blood sugar because it's full of carbohydrates, and carbohydrates are sugars. And some of them are going to get metabolized as sugars, broke down as sugars, enter the bloodstream, and boom, dogs have the same problem as human beings. They get obese, they grow tumors, they get heart problems, and so on, allergies, and so on. Okay. Sorry, double click. Here we go. Here's some liver. That's a nice big, I think that was like a 3.5 pound liver. You can see some ground up liver in the back there. Most dogs like raw liver. As the story goes in the wild, the alpha male, he usually gets to eat the liver out of whatever the pack kills. It's a good source of a lot of nutrition for your animal. So especially if you got an animal that's sick, go get him some liver. I only pay like $2.50, $3 a pound for liver when I buy it fresh. And of course, if you buy it frozen, you can get it cheaper than that. You can grind it up to make dog food, or you can just feed them strips. I had some raw liver for breakfast myself this morning as part of my PKD compliance, or paleo ketogenic diet compliance. I was assisted by the good folks at Paleo Medicina in recovering from my psoriasis. You can barely see where it was. I just have some pink scars farming over. And I think it's perfectly natural. The liver is widely known as one of the richest sources of vitamins. And of course, the contents of a liver, whether it be the protein, the fat, there's quite a bit of blood in the liver, and all the vitamins and minerals, they're much more bioavailable than any plant source. Sorry, clicking too fast. Wow. This is liver and a dehydrator. I actually bought this liver already cut nice and thin, section it down a little bit smaller pieces, lay it out on the racks. You can see at the bottom here, this liver is halfway dehydrated, and I flipped it over. That's why you see the grill marks on it. This is a LEM dehydrator. It's typically people buy this for processing game, like if you're a deer hunter or something like that, because it does quite a bit at one time. It's not a huge dehydrator. It's probably something on the order of about 16 inches square. And I think these racks are roughly 16 inches, 15 inches, something like that. And it has a nice timer. It has temperature control, a digital readout, the whole 9 yards. So it's piece of cake to use. These grills aren't really that hard to clean. I do have to soak them sometimes to get stuff like liver off of there, but I soak them overnight and then scrub them down, and it's pretty simple. You can see the liver at the top on the top shelves there hasn't been flipped yet. That's kind of half dried. This right here is dried liver. I use it to supplement my own diet. The dogs love it as a snack, and my plan is to grind some of that in and make some pemmican. So it's pretty versatile stuff, and when it's dried like this, it's very stable. The nutrient levels in dehydrated liver is very similar to fresh liver. It's just a little bit lower. Just like freezing or cooking, you might lose a little bit. But of course, it's very nutritionally dense. So to take the water out, a gram of this is actually more potent than a gram of fresh liver. These are marrow bones. These are cow femurs that have been sliced. It's typically how I get my marrow. I heat it up in a pan, and then I put the marrow. I just push it out. You can see the bones in the back up here. There's still some marrow in there, but these up here have been hollowed out. you can see that there's a lot of meat or muscle and connective tissue still on these bones. The dogs love to chew on them. They love to lick the marrow out of the bones. So I extract the marrow and eat the marrow for my diet, for the PKD diet or paleo ketogenic diet, as part of the healing protocol, I guess you want to call it, or prescription. And the dogs enjoy munching on the bones. My dogs are small. They don't have real big teeth or real powerful jaws, so they're not really going to crush bones this big because he's pretty strong. I mean, you could stand on these even after I've heated them up. You could stand on it, and I'm a big guy. I could stand on it; it won't break. So, but the dogs enjoy chewing on them and cleaning the flesh off, and it helps clean dogs' teeth. Plus, they get the nutrients like calcium out of it. This is just a sample of what I might feed my dogs. Down here at the bottom, this is some pork. And up here, some eggs, some nice pasture raised, actually backyard chickens that eat everything. They eat everything, including bugs, worms, rats, mice, leftovers, eggshells, you name it. My crazy cousin Steven raises all these chickens in his backyard, and he's very generous with the eggs. So me and the dogs eat those. And this is just some ground beef. If you have a big dog, I'm sure it'd be expensive to feed him meat, but you buy in bulk. And, if you have access to wild game, of course, people feed deer heads and antlers and stuff to their dogs. They let them chew on big bones with meat, cow legs and stuff like that, and rabbits and all kinds of stuff you can get if you're really into it. And there's lots of groups on like Facebook and the other places on the internet that teach you how to feed your dogs meat. So if you want to do it, you could do it. Here's a picture of the wonderful eggs I get from my cousin. He has a variety of different types of chickens, and that's why they come in different colors. So I know the picture's upside down, but I thought it was a cool picture. Brown eggs, green eggs, blue eggs, white eggs. It's quite a variety. So, and the yolks are a very dark orangey sort of yellow. So this is raw porterhouse. This was a fantastic. I eat raw steak whenever I have it fresh. I love raw steak. The dogs love it too, except for Stumpy. He's kind of off raw now, but Trixie and Mr. Snuggles used to love eating raw meat. So I think it's good. I don't really know why I perform better on raw meat, why I feel better on raw meat. Even, raw liver, a lot of people notice when they eat raw liver, they really kind of perk up really quick. And I've had some of my best workouts after eating raw steak. And when you cook meat, the nutritional value goes down a little bit, but it's not really clear why for some people, or maybe most people, they feel a lot better and they seem to have more energy when they eat raw. Maybe it has something to do with enzymes or something. I really don't know. I haven't found any real science on it other than the nutritional differences between cooked and raw. There is plenty of data on that, but we don't know why people seem to notice a big difference. It's just people have been eating raw meat, and obviously animals, dogs eat raw meat in the wild all the time. So do cats. I mean, they run around catching animals and eating them all the time. Of course, if you got a rat terrier, you'll notice that they love catching things like rats and gophers and stuff, and they usually won't eat them. They usually bring them to you. In fact, they'll pile them up, and they usually won't eat them until you tell them to eat them. So it's some incredible sort of hunting thing that's bred into them. So, and I just put this up here to make the point. Sorry, it's a crappy picture, but these are pork rinds. They're just pork fat fried in pork fat. There's no other ingredients in it. And I just put it up here to make the point that a snack like this for your dog is going to be healthier than any sort of packaged food that's probably got a bunch of plants and preservatives and carbohydrates of all kinds in it. You're better off just giving your dog a little bit of pork rind if you need to take a snack for them or something, or just give them a treat than all that other garbage, because this is what they're going to naturally eat. So anyways, I just wanted to say that, you can feed your dog just like you feed yourself if you're on a carnivore diet, and you're going to both do better. You know, there's probably no accident that human beings and dogs and cats have had such a lengthy and strong companionship. It's because they lived on the same diet. They hunted together. You know, cats and dogs, you know, can take care of pests a lot easier than human beings can. They can warn you if you know, predators are approaching. They'll warn you if somebody's stealing your food or whatever. And obviously they can help you find food, you know, and a human being can probably take down a larger animal like a mammoth or something, or even fight a bear easier than a dog could. It takes a whole pack of wolves to do what one man can do. So anyways, I just want to put that out there that not only can you improve your own health and feel better, but you can improve the health of your pet. And like I said, there's lots of groups out there that you can learn from about how to feed your dog on a carnivore diet, a meat diet, the diet they evolved to eat, the diet we evolved to eat. So anyways, thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Please pass links to these videos on. Please leave comments. I'm always interested to hear how I could do a better job, and I appreciate any support I get.